Abraham is a key figure in the Bible, often called the father of nations. The Bible tells us that Abraham traveled to a new land and God made a special covenant with him. Abraham's family life is part of this famous story. We are looking today for a person named Karata, said to be his wife. The name Karata is not found in the main holy books. The primary texts, like the book of Genesis, list the key people in his life. Abraham's most well-known wife was Sarah. Besides Sarah, the Bible mentions Hagar, an Egyptian servant, and Keturah, whom Abraham married after Sarah's death. These women are part of Abraham's wider family story. Sometimes untold stories mean looking at parts of the Bible that are not often read, or it can mean trying to find information about people who are only mentioned briefly. Perhaps the name Karata comes from a different tradition, or is a name confused with someone else. We will explore the women we do know in Abraham's life. This will help us understand his world better. Let's dive into the stories of Sarah, Hagar, and Keturah. Sarah was Abraham's main wife, originally named Sarai. God later changed her name to Sarah, meaning princess or noble woman. She traveled with Abraham from Ur to Canaan, the land God promised them. Sarah's journey was one of great faith, but also filled with challenges. A very important part of Sarah's story is that she could not have children for many years. This made her very sad, as having children was extremely important. God promised Abraham many descendants, but Sarah remained barren for a long time. This tested their faith. God promised Abraham that Sarah would indeed have a son, a great miracle. Sarah's relationship with Abraham was long and deep. They faced danger, like when they traveled to Egypt, and Abraham said Sarah was his sister. Sarah famously laughed when she heard she would have a child in her old age, but God's promise came true and she gave birth to Isaac. Sarah's impact on biblical history is huge. She is a key matriarch of the Israelite people. Through her son Isaac, the covenant promises continued. Christians and Jews honor Sarah as a woman of faith. Though she had moments of doubt, she is remembered for her role in God's plan. She died before Abraham and was buried in the cave of Machpelah. This is detailed in Genesis chapter 23. Sarah's story is a testament to faith and perseverance. After Sarah, Hagar is another important woman in Abraham's story. Hagar was Sarah's servant girl from Egypt. Because Sarah could not have children at first, she gave Hagar to Abraham. Hagar then had a son with Abraham named Ishmael. Ishmael was Abraham's first son. Hagar's position in the household became complicated. She faced hardship, especially with Sarah. After Ishmael was born, there was tension. Sarah later had her own son, Isaac. Hagar and Ishmael were eventually sent away into the desert, but God did not forget Hagar. An angel spoke to her in the wilderness, promising that Ishmael would also become a great nation. Hagar is a strong figure who received direct promises from God. Much later, after Sarah had passed away, Abraham took another wife, Keturah. Keturah had 6 sons with Abraham, who became ancestors of different tribes in Arabia. Abraham gave them gifts and sent them away from Isaac to ensure Isaac inherited the main covenant promises. Keturah's story is much shorter in the Bible than Sarah's or Hagar's. We do not know many details about her life or personality. It is possible that the name Karata could be a misremembered version of Keturah. However, no major ancient source names a wife Karata. The name Karata is not found as one of Abraham's wives in the Bible. The scriptures we have, like Genesis, do not mention her. Our search for Karata helps us think about biblical stories. It makes us look closer at the women who named. Women like Sarah, Hagar, and Keturah each played important roles. Their lives were part of the unfolding divine plan described in the texts. The Bible tells stories with specific purposes, focusing on certain people and events. This means many other people from that time are not mentioned. Or if they are mentioned, we learn very little about them. This is especially true for many women in ancient texts. Their full stories were often not the main focus of the writers. The interest in a figure like Karata shows that people want to understand the full human story of the Bible. Learning about women in these societies helps us build a more complete picture of that world. While a specific wife named Karata remains unknown to the biblical tradition, the question about her encourages us to read more carefully the stories of the women who are there. The untold stories are often hidden in the details of the stories we already possess, waiting for us to explore them with fresh eyes.